And it was like an attic. So literally
God.
Heat was like 110 degrees and it was 80 outside and summer was stuck in there.
It was super stuck. Like the wall, like even if you touched the wall, like the walls were hot.
That was a Nicole line, but that was, for one, a true Nicoleism. This is Byron Lazine and Nicole White, and you are tuned into episode 79 of The Real Word.
Word is up.
The word is up. We are, if you listened to last week's episode, we were a little disappointed. I was a little disappointed, actually.
I think you were disappointed in me.
No. No. I know what to expect with you. I have no disappointments whatsoever.
That's fun.
You know?
Thank you.
No, you were prepared. We were both prepared to review those 3 podcasts. I just didn't think it had the real word punch. The rackets really lost some sizzle.
Yeah, we tried. I mean, we tried. Yeah. We gave a few people some shout outs. We will give some shout outs again.
We are going to continue to do this leading up to the Inman Innovators Award, but we're going to do it a little bit differently.
Like, what's the scoop?
We're coming. Don't worry.
I'm kind of waiting for you to.
We're in.
I keep getting messages like, are you going? Are you coming? What day are you flying in? What day are you flying out?
You keep getting Nicole's very popular.
I am.
People, what are they? They're waiting to do a little cocktail hour with you, or what's going on?
Could be.
No, we're going to continue to review everybody. Today we're just going to do Tom Ferry on the third segment of the show, and then we're going to fit everybody else in a rapid fire series. We're just not going to dedicate a whole show to it because there's a lot of stuff happening in the real estate world, and we want to cover it on the Real Word. So we're going to get into it with some big news last week, not surprising news. I think it was obvious news if you were really tracking their trajectory. But the U.S. market has officially broke Purplebricks. Not brick by brick, though. Really just tore the whole thing down. They
kind of vacuumed it up. I mean,
although when I watched that show,
it wasn't even a brick. No, it wasn't. It was just it's gone.
What's the show with the little pigs?
Purple to black.
Brick house, the straw house.
Yeah, 3 little pigs.
Twigs? No. What's the other one?
Sticks Hay.
Sticks Hay. I was just watching it with Stella.
You were? Wow, you participated. So you don't like barbecues, but you'll do the 3 little pigs?
I'll do the 3 little pigs if Stella wants to just, hang out, snuggle up. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And the brick house didn't seem to get blown down, but in this example,
it got sucked up.
Purplebricks
is out.
So I thought what was interesting was you had some employees. I think these are anonymous employees. We'll link it up.
Yeah, there's no names. There's no names affiliated with any of these employees.
We're referring to the Inman article, How the U.S. Broke Purplebricks. Former employees sound off. No names, but they were really, I'll summarize, but they were talking about the arrogance of Purplebricks to assume that what they pulled off in the UK market, they were going to be able to pull off here in America. If you're unfamiliar with Purplebricks, obviously it's a flat fee brokerage, so it's a discount broker. The UK model is completely different, right? Buyer agents don't really get paid unless a buyer is passionate about paying them for their services, and you have reduced commissions, and you do have a lot of these flat fee marketing, et cetera, models for sellers. And but the employees made it very clear that this is a different market. In fact, they tried to educate the management of Purplebricks in the U.S., but Purplebricks got no support from UK on what the employees were suggesting, and certainly it fell on deaf ears on the internal team.
Yeah, well, it sounded like what the U.S. team was doing was just running the UK's plan. I mean, it didn't even really. Well, I mean, I wasn't in the company, so I don't really know exactly what the going-ons were. But it's
one employee who was there all the way until May of 2019 from the beginning said they witnessed many missteps and lack of understanding of the business and U.S. market by the management team. They didn't take the time to understand how the deals are done, how the business is done here in America. A lot of agents have personal connections within their communities. They do a lot for their communities. I think they took that for granted for sure. But it seems like they had an arrogance that they would figure out anything on the fly. There's one employee that references an escrow company that they launched on the fly, and they thought they would just figure it out. That, to me, is interesting because you have other big companies that are starting things that I think a lot of people are perceiving on the fly, right?
Yeah.
Like changing the model quickly all the time. I would say, because a lot of people are probably thinking, oh, Zillow, talking about Zillow. I would say Zillow's doing quite the opposite. They're doing quite a bit of research, testing certain markets.
Well, they've been in the market so much longer. I mean, we're talking about a company that came to the U.S. only 2 years ago. Where they launched in, did they launch in San Francisco? They launched in California. And it sounds like even just from the get-go, they expanded to too many cities without really even doing any sort of testing or so
that's where I think Zillow's different than these types of companies. And Zillow's, not playing the flat fee brokerage discount model. They're going at it a much different way, and they're doing a lot of testing. What I would say I thought of instantly when I really heard the news was Trey Laura. And Trey Laura, headquartered in Denver, I believe. They had a CEO who now has resigned or moved on or whatever they're calling it in December of 2018. And so there's been some management changes like we saw with Purplebricks. But this particular CEO, I remember his name, Joshua Hunt. I thought it was Jacob. Joshua Hunt. Was I heard him at Swanepoel Summit 2 years ago, and he was emphatic about their discount model, almost what some perceived in the audience. And I actually spoke with Joshua after his panel, and I liked him, and I liked his passion for his product, even though I don't love his product. I liked him. A lot of the people in the audience thought he was extremely arrogant, and it reminds me of the arrogance that we have now seen Purplebricks, fall to, right? They had this level of arrogance that...
You're calling this guy out? You're calling him out?
No, he's gone.
No, I mean, I'm being arrogant.
No. What I'm saying is there was a lot of people in because when you go to Swanepoel, it's a tight room.
Right.
You're talking of a few hundred people. And so there's conversation. What'd you think of the discussion around Trey Laura and Purplebricks and these type of companies? What did you think of what Gary Keller said, right? And there's all this analysis, and overwhelmingly people thought that Joshua Hunt was arrogant. I happened to speak to him after, and I kind of liked him, not to say that I liked the product.
Yeah.
But too many of these flat fee models are saying, I'm going to stand on, my, what is that called? The soapbox? I'm going to stand on my soapbox and say, this is what the consumer wants, because everybody's trying to go after the Amazon model. Everyone's trying to be Amazon.
So I wonder though, on the flip side of that, if you're recruiting people to join your company, right? And obviously you're not just pulling it out of your ass or anything, but I mean, wouldn't you want a CEO? Wouldn't you want someone starting these companies? Maybe they're not arrogant, maybe they have to stand on their soapbox. I want them to have passion,
and I want them to stand on their soapbox.
Because if I'm going to follow them, I want them to know that they believe in their model. Not like, I'm a little concerned this week. I mean, then I'd be like, are you kidding me? I just ditched my other company and hopped on. Like,
I want them to have the blind arrogance that we're going to succeed. But I think the arrogance that I'm talking about is the arrogance of what they believe the market actually wants. These companies believe that the overwhelming market wants an Amazon lower priced, put it into a box model, where I think we're finding that's quite the opposite when you really dig into these micro communities throughout the nation and you actually understand the market and get into the weeds of the market. And Joshua Hunt happens to be a former top real estate agent. Okay, so let's make that clear. He just has a differing opinion that I don't believe, certainly in the price points that I'm interested in, right? That consumer wants a discount, one size fits all. Yeah. People in America want and pay for great service. So when you can provide great service, they will pay a premium.
Well, I think the problem here also is that I think that a lot of consumers think that, like, it's sort of like FSBOs, right? They think that that they want the flat fee because it saves them money, but then they get ticked off because they're maybe not getting a phone call or they're not getting the service that they want. And it's like, well, you get what you pay for.
Right.
So I think that at first people probably really thought that they wanted the flat fee until they realized what they were then missing because they went that route.
And what you're not paying for in these services is consulting or high levels of service or concierge, or even great above and beyond separator marketing.
Right.
You're not getting that either.
Right.
And I do think there's a place for these discount models, but I think it's going to be similar to how it's always been, which is a very small percentage of the pool or a very low end price point, because people have to watch every single nickel there and maybe are willing to take on the part-time job of being their own agent.
Right. Yes.
All right. Racket, the Purplebricks is gone?
No, not a racket.
No. I think it's obvious.
Yeah.
So
on to the next.
It's a racket that they came here to begin with.
You think?
Yeah.
I think it's a racket that it's so moist in this room.
All right, racket number 2. We're going to review a 10-step plan for having a life outside of real estate. These are 10 ideas for self-care.
I think it's super appropriate for this time of year,
Bernice
right?
Ross.
It's like summer. People think that they,
So Bernice Ross article on Inman, and I do think it's appropriate.
Yeah.
Because people are getting the summer love syndrome,
Summer what?
Summer love.
Summer love? What's that? What's a summer love syndrome?
People start falling in love with, people, right? Summer love, or just, enjoying themselves and vacationing and picnicking and partying and all these types of things.
Well, or they're not. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe they're feeling like they can't pick. Like I'm feeling like sometimes I can't picnic or I'm not doing a day off.
And you'd love to be doing that.
I would be. I would love to like have a beach day or like a day. But then you're just like, oh my goodness, I can't.
Do some water sliding or.
It was the 4th of July.
All right. So we're just going to run down the list, racket or not. That's how we're going to roll.
Yep.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Scheduled days off.
Not a racket.
Not a racket. I agree.
You need to have a day off. Even you're starting to take some days off.
Absolutely.
Or part of days off. Proud of you.
Every single person is a cell phone battery. You need to recharge it in some fashion, right? And so if days off does it. All right. Number 2, turn off at night.
I think that's a racket.
I think if it's a day off, turn off
at
night. But I think if you're on, I think too many agents are trying to do 9 to 4 shit. If it's a work day, you need to be like working the whole day, which means the nighttime too.
Yeah.
Number 3, dump what is non-essential.
I think that is not a racket. It's just a matter of figuring out what you can dump, if you have somebody that you feel comfortable dumping it on.
I mean, this isn't for real estate agents. This is for everybody.
Everybody.
Dumping what's non-essential, like gossip and like reality TV and like all this and like, watching the news. Like those are all non-essential things.
Yeah, I actually, I'll get to it when we get to the next one. Anyway.
Number 4, schedule relaxation time. If it's at the spa, never a racket. Never a racket.
I schedule relaxation time. So that's not a racket.
Number 5, connect with friends. Only if they're past clients.
Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord. I love connecting with friends. It's like the only, but I feel like that's like also super important because
all my friends are past clients.
Well, right, I guess. But I'm also like, I'm not getting together with my friends though at like homes, like we're out. So then it ends up being sort of like a social.
If you're not a past client, you're probably not a friend.
Oh, so we're not friends? I'm not a client.
Oh.
We're not friends?
I guess I never thought of it in that way. Yeah. I guess we're not.
Wow.
I'm going to go stick with that rule.
So funny.
Number 6, reduce your risk for cancer and heart disease.
I mean,
and then it says
obviously.
Have dinner with your reduce your risk for cancer and heart disease. Have dinner with your family
or someone you care about
at least 5 times a week.
So that reduces. So they're saying that reduces your heart disease.
Depends what you're eating.
This is a racket. Skip number 6.
This is a racket because it doesn't make any sense.
I mean, who wants cancer? Do you want heart disease? I mean,
if you have dinner 5 times per week with friends or loved ones,
they clearly needed to squeeze inside. They didn't come. They only came up with 9.
50%
and they had to squeeze in a 10.
Fewer heart attacks. Bernice, love you. I don't know about this one.
Top 10 is better than top 9, right? All right, 6 is a racket. On with the next.
If we go to In-N-Out, which we don't have here in Connecticut, every single day a week, this is going to increase my heart disease, whether I go with friends and family.
I don't know. That's not true. I mean, unless you're like ketoing. I don't know. It would be great with ketoing.
Burger King or something. I don't know. All right. Number 7, avoid multitasking. Not a racket.
Not a racket. I'm the worst. I am constant. I'm triple tasking. Is that
It's
something?
impossible to triple task. It's impossible to multitask. You know, if you're doing one thing and then you start doing another thing, now you're doing the other thing. Then you can go back to the other thing. Now you're doing that thing.
But then you
if
forgot.
You go to the other thing,
then
now
you
you're
forgot
doing
about
that
that thing. Oh my
you
gosh.
can only do one thing at a time.
Forgot that
I'm doing this thing or I'm doing that thing.
I always forget the thing.
I can do 2 things at once.
No, you're not good.
But
You
I'm
never.
not.
You're never.
I'm the worst
You can't do.
multitasker.
No, we have that on camera.
I can't even hear people if I'm looking at something else.
I think that you don't like to hear people. I mean, there's a difference.
No, I'm putting my focus into something, you know?
I don't know.
Trying to get everything I can out of it.
Everything you can out of a text.
Yeah.
Okay. 8.
8, have a problem, deal with it now. So eat the frog, right? Is that what they're talking about?
Pretty much. Just do it.
Just knock things out immediately. That's great advice for a real estate agent.
I think that's just good advice for life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Wow.
I agree with that.
You're giving a true that to that?
Yeah.
Laying it down.
Number 9, discover something new. At least once a month, try something you've never tried before.
Ugh, that's a racket.
That's a racket.
Such a racket.
Here's why. If you find something that's worth doing, do it every day, right? Like I like the gym. I'm trying to do it every single day.
Like the gym?
I like the gym. It makes me feel good. I need to do it every day. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't like this stuff of like.
I think they mean like trying something
do this once
new.
a year,
like bungee jump. Like
I don't want to bungee jump.
Like stuff like that. Like try something new like that.
Here's the other thing. I know myself pretty well at this point.
Okay.
I know there are things I'm not going to enjoy. So like.
Well, you don't even enjoy barbecues.
I don't even have to try them.
So I feel like I don't know what you actually enjoy. Like what? Maybe that's a shorter list. The things that like you do enjoy.
All right, moving on. Discover something new. I think it's a racket. Number 10, keep a great life journal. Never a racket.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're in a journal and you might be into the 5 a.m. call, just saying.
Yeah. Well, I think that goes on to many, many, many things. The journal, the great life. I don't know why they call it the great life. What does that mean? What's the shtick behind the great life?
Only people with a journal have a great life.
Oh, okay. Okay, doke.
Okay.
Not a racket.
All right. Racket number 3. That checklist is pretty cool, and they go into more details than just the 10 topics. We're going to link that up as we always do. If you're on YouTube, you'll be able to find all these article links, as well as racket number 3, a link out to the Tom Ferry Podcast, which we want to give a quick review to. Our 4th review leading up to the people we're competing with for the Inman Innovator Podcast Award coming the end of this month at their Inman Connect in Las Vegas. So, Tom Ferry Podcast, have you listened to it? What do you think about it?
So
what are your thoughts?
I enjoy Tom mostly because he's always very uplifting. So it's his voice is never stagnant. He's never in a down mood. There's tons of energy. So even if it's a topic that maybe I'm not necessarily interested in, he's very good at engaging and wanting you to listen, or at least listening to parts. At least if anything, you just sort of swap your mindset and from being like meh to like whoa, like gosh, turn your life on. I
never realized this, but if you go to, and this is what we're linking up, tomferry.com/podcast. The way he has his podcast set up on his website is really, really beautiful.
Yeah, you like the time. It's like a timeline.
Dude, it is really good. I haven't seen one quite like this set up in this way.
Yeah. Well,
dude, would you admit, especially on a desktop, this is really fantastic.
It's beautiful. It's a timeline.
You might want to scroll on that, Suave.
Yeah.
Do a little scrolling on how it looks on a desktop. It looks really good.
He probably has a person.
Here's what's great about Tom's podcast. He interviews so many different people. He's got DJ on here from a June 19th post. DJ, my boy from Jacksonville in the Ville. He's running a sales team like we are. So just not a regular, he's a top real estate agent, but a real estate agent sales. And then the next one the one before that on June 12th, he's got Gino Belfari from Berkshire Hathaway. So like one of the top 3 or 4 guys from BHHS. He's got Jason Pantana, who we know. Jason, all of the Jason Pantana content is absolutely must listen to stuff if you want to dig into some of the weeds of real estate marketing, some of the tips and tricks there.
He has Jason on quite a bit, actually.
He's got Jason on quite a bit. Jason's dynamic. Tiffany Bova.
You're just a Tom lover.
So Tiffany Bova is, I forget exactly, where the heck was she? Do you remember? What the heck?
Oh, wasn't
anyway,
she,
she's not real estate at all.
She was at the summit. Wasn't she at last year's summit?
She spoke at something that we were at. Just wrote a book. Salesforce, that's where she was from. Anyway, so he has all these different, and it's easy for Tom Ferry, one, being in Southern California, two, being Tom fucking Ferry, to get really good, amazing guests.
Yeah.
But he doesn't just stick to like the big names like a Tiffany Bova who just dropped a book or the bigger names in real estate. He goes all the way down to the real estate agent level and really brings in a good, diverse group. If you're a new agent or an experienced agent, the Tom Ferry Show, where he's giving you some type of a hack. If you're a new agent, it should be mandatory you listen to it every single week. Like just mandatory. And for an experienced agent, digging into some of these higher level interviews and podcasts where they can go deep on some stuff. It is absolutely, I think, critical to your business. And he will 100% bring you information that's a little bit ahead of the curve. That's 2 or 3 months before you start hearing everybody else talk about it. So
I enjoy his energy.
Yeah.
I definitely, especially because I'm not a great listener. I mean, I listen, but like, I love his energy.
And his energy is the same
every single time.
In person, on camera.
Yeah.
He brings it, makes people feel really good.
I have to say, so we met him. We did a podcast with him.
Episode 67.
Yeah,
check it out.
And this is really the first time that I've ever obviously sat down with him like one-on-one. And although we were doing a podcast and it's interesting because he's like in person, it's so much more genuine. Not to say that he's not genuine on his podcast. It's just sometimes like you're listening and you're just like, there's no way that this guy, like this is just like he's pushing. But like when you're sitting with him, it's like
the first time. Let me ask you this: the first time you ever heard Tom Ferry, did you think he was inauthentic and salesy and that kind of thing?
I didn't think he was salesy. It was too like pitchy for me. Like I'm sure he probably took a bunch of like classes when he first started, like on like public speaking and like.
I don't think he. Well, I don't know. That's it. I wish we asked him that because I don't know if he did or didn't. My guess would be that he didn't.
Oh, see, I felt like there was part of like, because you have, if you're going to be on stage, you have to know transitions and like punches and endings and ups and downs. I mean,
I think he's been around so many people. His father, the Jim Rohn tree, Tony Robbins, those types of guys that he really.
Yeah. So when you're watching, there are some times where, not that I don't think that he is genuinely concerned for his viewer, but like I feel like sometimes maybe like he has to like push it because that's just what he is. But when you meet him, it's like
the amount of first names the dude remembers is so unbelievable, and that tells me how authentic he really is because he takes the time. Even if you're just good at memorization, he's taking the time to make sure he remembers people's first names at a ridiculous level like I've never seen before.
I think, and in all honesty, I think where that comes from is he has a very strong and stable like foundation. Like he loves his wife. Like his wife is very supportive.
For real.
So he has the ability to be so confident. Again, we going back to arrogant, where he's not arrogant. Where like I think it's easier to sort of engage with people when you're not sort of playing your own head game of like, oh my goodness, am I wearing the same right thing, or like, are they gonna like judge me? Like he feels so comfortable in his own skin, what he's doing and what he's providing, that it's easy for him to then like want to and learn about other people because he just is like,
no doubt,
he's just cool with himself. Yeah. So
totally in on the Tom Ferry podcast. Certainly one of my top 5, I'd say, podcasts in or out of real estate, anything, right?
Yeah.
He's one of the 4 or 5 ones that I choose to listen to on a regular basis. So that would be that. We're looking forward, again, as we climb up to the Inman Innovator Awards, to do some more of these and knock these reviews out before the end of July. Love to leave a comment, any feelings you had on Purplebricks, what you're doing to keep sane this summer, or if you've listened to the Tom Ferry podcast
Especially
yourself.
with your kids home. Oh, my gosh.
Right? Home all summer long.
All summer.
So leave us a comment, throw us a like. Really appreciate you guys, and looking forward to seeing you next week. Till then, keep it real.
Bye, guys.